Hi, whoever that is watching this video, I'm Jason, and this is my final reflection video for the user research class. The purpose of this video is really to help me to look back on what I've done for this class and what I learned from it, and what does that mean to me and how I could improve upon it. So my topic for my user research was to see whether the weather conditions would have impact on students' willingness to study. The reason why I chose this topic was that we live in Seattle and it rains all the time, so I was really interested in seeing if the rain would impact our willingness to study. Well, this became the problem because my topic was not easy to start with, compared to other scientific research, user research was not the same. So when I was doing it, I really had a hard time and I did not like my topic, to be honest. The methodology I employed was field study, interview, and survey. To be honest, I really like this sequence that you guys introduced it to the class, because I believe this is really how a user research should flow after I've done it. So for my field study, what I did was I observed students studying in the Odegaard Library under different weather conditions. Since studying was quite a mundane activity to me, so I did not know what to observe initially. And I had a hard time in putting down my bias and to really get down into the field and observe student studies behavior. Yeah, so I think the problem behind my field study was that, well, first, I did not really understand the idea behind field study. Well, this leads to me not knowing the point of doing field study. So this really makes the entire process difficult. But fortunately, I grasped the idea. It's really interesting because I started to understand the point of field study after I finished my interview study. Because when I look back after I finished my interview, that I really get an idea on what I lack in my data field. So what I learned from my field study is that field study is all about the natural behavior, because initially we assume ourselves do not know anything about the field, so what we really need is the first-hand experience and information about how users interact with the product, the environment. Therefore, in the future, what I would do for field study is that I would set a clear goal, and I would just be in the environment and observe and note down every single detail around my topic. And also I would need to start doing better field notes, because my field note was not as good, and I had a hard time generating report from it. Next, for the interview, I really enjoy it because I really enjoy talking to people and learning about their stories. And in fact, I've done a lot of interviews in my free time, so I did not have a problem doing interviews for the study. One thing I learned from my interview study is that is how to design questions. Well, I learned to design questions in a top-down approach, which essentially means to ask questions around the topic and then go deep into it. So yeah, I think this is really interesting. And another thing I found interesting in interview was the qualitative data, because previously all I've learned about data is quantitative. So it's really interesting to see the other side of the data field. For the data analysis part, it was really time consuming, but it was really rewarding. What I've learned is that data analysis is not difficult, but what we really need is the mindset of thinking about qualitative data and how to describe it. But in the future, I think for my interview study, I would really need to start my data analysis earlier, so that I would have the chance to really engage in the analysis without having a time crunch. So for the survey study, the survey was more challenging than I thought it would be. I got a lot of help from my TA Robin, who I need to thank right now. Overall, it went pretty well, and I did not have problem in recruiting people, because essentially every student in the UW can be the participants for my survey study. The problem in my survey study was that I did not know what questions to ask, because I do not know the goal of the survey, and I do not know why I was doing it, because it was really hard to quantify study behavior. When I look back, I know that survey is about goal. So what it means essentially was that what do I want to get out of it, or and in order to generate goals for a survey, I need to know something about the field, and that's why we conduct survey the last. For the data analysis for the survey, I think it was alright because I have engaged with quantitative data before, so I think the process it's alright for me. One thing is I found if I have a goal for the survey, then the analysis process will become much easier. For the final report, I think it really was a chance to allow us to pull everything together, and I think it's really interesting because essentially I was pulling everything from the 3 reports and to describe it in a user and a design oriented way. So some final thoughts about this class. I think user research is really cool. So before I take this class, I know nothing about user research. And right now, I think it's really cool, and it really allows me to engage with the problem and makes me feel like a detective. Yeah, so thank you very much for this wonderful quarter. Thank you, Robin, and thank you, Sarah, for all your help. Thank you.